Hey everyone, and welcome to what I'm going to call episode 0 of the Timeless podcast. If you don't know me, I'm Corey. I'm a high-level Timeless player. I'm here with Greaseball, another well-known combo player in the Timeless format, and we're going to talk about our favorite Magic format for about an hour, and hopefully everybody loves the yapping as much as we do. Grease, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah. So I'm Greaseball. I made Jetstorm like about a year ago, which was a combo deck. I love playing combo, just like degenerate shit. And yeah, I've been in Timeless for about like a year and a half now. I've been having a great time.
Yeah, well, a year and a half is about all the format that we've had. It's only about that old, and the whole time I have been mostly known for playing Energy. Energy's been around for most of Timeless's existence now, if you could believe it. And playing all sorts of fair decks and combo decks and making the YouTube channel as well. Recently in Timeless, we did get what is like almost a rotation of the format. Like it's the most the format has rotated since we got Modern Horizons about a year plus ago. And really the only time outside of then where it feels like the format has actually properly rotated. And it wasn't one set, it was a couple of things that are really close to each other. We first got the bonus sheet from Edge of Eternities that gave us the new lands, Strip Mine and Ancient Tomb primarily. We got Alchemy that followed that up, which we're going to talk about some of the cards from that Alchemy set today, and we're also going to talk about the two surprise anthologies. We got a Shadow Drop Arena Anthology 1 and 2, which was planned, and then what I think is an unplanned Shadow Drop of Arena Anthology 3 just the other day, where we got even more cool cards, including some cards like Umezawa's Jite that are still forbidden fruit, apparently, that I cannot wait to actually get to play with on Arena.
Yeah, the pacing of the release of cards has been like really nuts. Just like I think especially like from a brewing perspective, because I think we went from like getting about like we had MH3, right, which was like a big change to the format. And then pretty much every format since, or every like release since has been like what two maybe three cards if that, depending on the power level of the format. So like to go from that to like I think we've had a drop like three drops this month or something like that. If you include like Spider-Man, like it's a lot. It feels like a lot.
Oh yeah, and we're getting Ponder in about another week and a half, and a couple other cards in the bonus sheet in Spider-Man. So like, it's not stopping, which is crazy. And at least like from my POV, I'm used to us having like plenty of time to evaluate the few new cards that come through, right? Like when Chrome Mox comes through, it's really just that we focus on. We have plenty of time to try it in every deck, plenty of time to draw conclusions, and like at least for me, I like to make a YouTube video once like the list settles and we have like a good meta list, and I could speak intelligently about it. And like the last few set releases all came so fast that like I only did that once or twice over the past month, even though like I had a million things to talk about. It's just things move so quickly and evolve so quickly that like I didn't feel like the format ever truly settled.
Yeah, I think we all played with Chromox for like a month, and we just tried Chromox in like every deck because that was like the one like powerful new card that came out. And then now everything's kind of like just really on rails, and we're just like instead of like opening up archetypes as much, it's more just like we're getting very strong cards again and again and again. Um, and so from like a deck building, it's like it feels like we're trying to keep up, versus like brewing with the current card pool and trying to get ahead. Let's see, but yeah, you want to just start getting into the cards. I have my I want to talk about my favorite card first. Goblin Bombardiers.
Oh,
How
definitely.
do
And
you feel?
that's also like one of my favorite Broadside Bombardiers, by the way.
Oh,
It
sorry,
messed up the
Broadside
first
Bombardiers.
card we talked about, of course. But yeah, that card's sweet. Like it's one that I've seen people play with on MTGO, and I'm like, damn, this would be awesome in energy or any sort of aggressive shell in arena. Like Red Stompy is a deck that has always felt like it was just missing a threat, missing some explosiveness. It's also a 3-drop, and 3-drops are really a soft spot for creatures in Timeless. Like ever since we got Ancient Tomb, people like me and you have been looking through just like the list of every creature in Timeless that costs 2 generic and 1 colored pip. And the list of all stars is like really short when you compare it to other formats, especially because there are some cards like Archon of Emeria that might be completely shut down in Vintage, but in Timeless they really only shut down like 20% of decks, so you can't really rely on them.
Yeah, and then like and it's weird. I've actually seen some people like playing Archon, and it seems like a bit more reasonable now with like Strip Mine and stuff like that, and it getting like more support. But yeah, three drops have been really weak. I think if you think about like Golgari playing Bargoyf, it's like it's technically like a good three drop that like can take over the game, but it does feel like a lot weaker than like Wary Zone Guard and especially Broadside Bombardiers, right? Like there's like a noticeable like difference in
Yeah.
card quality there.
It's also a critical mass thing because Barrogoyf, it might be like the weakest card in Golgari, but it's like one more thing that you could cheat out with Dark Ritual. And if that deck like just had the One Ring and Weary Zone Guard and 2 copies of Shieldred, it wouldn't feel like enough. But once you actually add Barrogoyf, it's enough. And it's a really similar case here with Broadside Bombardiers, where the red Stompy decks, they had some 3 drops to put into play, but none of them are as explosive. So now it actually like has a critical mass of really good draws, and you could say same thing about energy and like dropping Luris and energy to try to play broadside. You actually have enough cards that makes it worth it.
Yeah, I would say the big difference with like those two decks, Golgari and Red Stompy, is like when I think about like all my weakest draws in Golgari, it's like they involve the Baragorif, whereas when you're thinking about like all your best draws with mono red, um, they all tend to have bombardiers. Like they all of them have like if you're playing mono red, or or you like one ring into it, it's just it's way stronger, right? Like you're more playing Baragorn just to, like kind of fill out your ancient tomb curve, whereas like broadside you're starting yeah, so you're filling out your deck with Baragorn, or like broadside it's like you're starting with that as a 4 of no matter what you do, right?
Yeah, it's very much the best card in mono red. I think it even is like earned 4 of status and energy. Like the play patterns with the card are ridiculously strong. It brings explosive damage out of nowhere because if you're playing it with the One Ring and the other 3 drops in mono red, you can fling them for 5-6 damage. And considering this thing has menace, that's 8 damage, essentially 8 haste damage that comes out of nowhere. You can also clear blockers with its boast ability to get the menace damage in. If you're playing things that care about getting sacrificed, such as cat tokens for a Johnny, it's another just very convenient way to curve out. It's like the play patterns with this card have exceeded my expectations, and I don't want to talk about another card immediately, but these 2 cards are really similar. So like Gut kind of gets a shout out as well, because it's more or less a redundant version of the effect.
Yeah, I
Gut,
think
if you
guts
don't know it, I'm
yeah,
pulling up the
guts like
card now.
yeah, I don't want to conflate them too much because I do think gut is like a good gut is just like a good tier and a half worse than bombardiers, but
Oh,
yeah,
definitely, yeah.
they're pretty
Bombardiers is so
powerful.
much better. Don't get it twisted, but it's cool that you can kind of have 8 of the effect if you want.
Yeah, and then just also with like a lot of these like 1/1s and 1/2s in the format, like it is annoying to find good blocks against bombardiers on a lot of board states, which is like something I didn't think about like when like initially like playing with the card in Timeless.
Yeah, there's still not that many go wide decks in the format other than energy. It's really only energy that can block him super profitably, but you're losing your high quality energy creatures, and I'm going to use my boast ability to clear your first striker like Amped Raptor so that I have a guaranteed good attack, or if you think you can block with cat tokens, I'm going to hit your Ajani. It is really good at navigating board states, especially like with Barrogoyf being somewhat common right now, and lifelinkers like that, you can go ahead and dodge around it.
Yeah, definitely. No, and like even yeah, it's just really good. Yeah, to me it feels like the strongest 3 drop in the format by like quite a bit. I think some people are like putting Wary Zone Guard in the same tier, and I think that's fair. But like I feel like Bombardiers is like kind of the big pull, and it's like and red does feel like a slightly stronger color right now.
Yeah, strongest fair
So
three drop, you have to say,
mhm.
because there's combo pieces that are 3 mana that like win the game.
Right, yeah,
But
best three like fair 3 drop creature that you're like yeah that you're playing, sure.
yeah, it's crazy that like red is kind of becoming a real color because of Broadside. Because in the past, like in terms of the color hierarchy in Timeless, red was always the second worst, or arguably even the worst sometimes,
Mhm.
because the main colors in the format were the colors that had both interaction and threats, which is going to be white has the decent creatures, especially the energy creatures if you can play energy, but also has swords to plowshares and a lot of taxing effects that are good against unfair decks. Black has discard and aggressive threats, and blue has the counter spells and those really cheap 1 drops that get under your opponent, like Tameo. And we actually got a new one, Hydroponics, that we'll probably talk about later. But red only ever had damage based interaction, not really anything else beyond that. And it didn't have great creatures beyond Ragavan. And the same thing with green. Green always had like pretty pathetic interaction beyond Veil of Summer. And it's really cool to see like red put back on the board with just a couple of really push 3 drops.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I know. I think I had a couple matches yesterday where it was just like I think people were trying out the sneak and show builds of Emrakul where you don't instantly you have to basically like you have to cast show and tell, get your Emmy into play, and then but you have to like basically like wait a whole turn, right? Because it's you're not instantaneously winning that turn. And if I had a Bombardiers in play, they just die. I just like, oh, I put a 5-drop like MDFC into play. I put a One Ring into play. I boast and I kill you. Like they just never live through Bombardiers. It's been really good. Yeah, it's the most impressive card of the set, like by far.
Yeah, and it's crazy like how weak red and green were as colors. Like I had one more thought I wanted to say is that like Wrenn And Six got added to the format. I don't know if we want to talk about that card as well today, but the reason Red and Six Strip Mine is like kind of fine in this format is because like you're forced to play the two worst colors in your deck, and you can't really play three colors if you want to also like support Strip Mine. You can, but it's really difficult. So it's sort of a natural check on that card's power level, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, because yeah, you're kind of like exposing your like more of, like by going into 3 colors, you're exposing yourself to like opposing strip by variants and stuff. Yeah, so it's felt like somewhat reasonable right now. Yeah, and I think that kind of like brings to mind like crop rotation, right? One of the new cards in the format, like uh, kind of letting them like consistently get strip mine now because you basically have like 8 copies of it. As long as you know you like run your like 14 green sources or whatever the responsible number it is. Um, it's felt like pretty good, but I haven't like felt like I haven't ran into any decks on ladder where I'm just getting crushed by crop rotation decks. I don't know about you.
I think the card definitely feels really versatile in what it's able to do. Like, we might not have the ideal crop rotation deck figured out yet, and maybe we just need a combo piece like Dark Depths to really make it happen. But like, I'm incredibly impressed just by the versatility of the card because obviously at like the 100 level, it can get you a strip mine, but it can also defend you against your opponent's strip mine. If you ever have green mana up, you can go ahead and essentially stifle the strip mine activation by sacrificing the land that they're targeting to crop rotation. You can even search your own strip mine and Uno reverse card them and make them go down 2 lands just because you cast crop rotation, which is really crazy. There's also just like a million edge case uses of crop rotation that I'm sure I'm going to keep encountering. Like if you have one copy of Ancient Tomb in your deck, you can sacrifice a green land and you'll pay the green with that one land to get a land that taps for 2, which is straight up mana ramp. And you could do that whenever you want. I did that. I had like crop rotation in green black just to test it, and I was playing against an opponent who tapped out. I had 3 mana in play plus a crop rotation and a One Ring in my hand, and that line of being able to like rotate away a 1 mana land in order to get a 2 mana land allowed me like to resolve the ring and just straight up win the game.
Yeah, I saw Novos playing with it on like his Jund crop rotation list that he was trying, where he was just like Bajuka Bog into like Goif effects is really funny because you can like kill them post combat or like on their triggers and stuff like that. And there's like a lot of ways to manipulate that as well. Um, I don't yeah, but I think part of the issue that's missing is there's still like yeah that like just a dark depths like kill you combo or like that like um kind of like, oh, this is like a way I can go over the top using crop rotation. So sometimes like I think like late game when like you don't really need a strip mine, it can kind of feel a bit weird. And I do like though that you can't just strip mine into open green now. Because I think before it was like almost like strip mine felt like really brain dead, and now there's at least like some counterplay that is going to exist and like be around, which is nice.
Yeah, it's really cool seeing like the play patterns emerge, and I know we're going to keep figuring it out over time. And one of the other things that can help is not necessarily getting like a combo or go over the top win kind of card, but we could also get just more utility cards to search out with crop rotation. Being able to crop rotation for something like Caracas or the white land I'm forgetting the name of that gives a creature protection until end of turn. Something like that that can either stop your opponent's game plan or protect your creatures would like help a lot with making crop rotation mid-range decks a real thing.
Yeah, Caracas would be a like really cool add to something that plays crop rotation. I kind of highlighted there's that alchemy card, Ambassador of Avendo, the blue green 1/3, and it just whenever land you control enters a random landfall, whenever a land you control enters a random land in your library perpetually gains. Whenever this land becomes tapped, draw a card. So it's like interesting because it's like okay, it's blue, so like you can always sack it to flare. It has landfall, so you can get like 2 triggers off of fetch. Um, and like and then you can like crop rotate for it. Um, it's like get the land and you just have this land that you're always tapping. I think the big issue here though that I'm like thinking about is like if it ever hits a fetch, it's kind of just like one cantrip and you don't really have a way to tutor the fetch, which like kind of sucks. So I think it could the floor on this is like pretty low, I feel like, which is like part of the issue.
Yeah, the floor's kind of low, but at least like if a fetch enters, it's going to get you another landfall trigger, and that might hit a fetchable. Like it'll probably hit a fetchable half the time, and maybe that's good enough to justify it. Or if he survives another turn or two, which I know asking a dorky 2-drop that doesn't do anything to survive a few turns in Timeless is a high ask, but it's something.
Yeah, just more trying to think along those like similar lines of like how do we abuse crop rotation with like the current tools in the format. Because I know like some people have suggested like Lotus Field too. I think the issue with Lotus Field is just like in this strip mine, like you can have a naked Lotus Field a lot, or like it's really hard to like even get it down in the first place. I've had a ton of games. I don't know about you, but I've had a ton of games where we just like trade off like 2 strip mines each or something, and we're just kind of sitting there like top decking for quite a while. So I don't.
Yeah.
I am a
And
bit worried about the Lotus Field variants trying to use crop rotation in this format.
yeah, exactly. You're never going to have the 2 lands to sacrifice. You're going to have to pack a Stifle, but then if you pack a Stifle, you need to have another blue mana anyway, so you needed 2 lands. So you're asking for a lot of pieces to come together pretty much. Another cool idea that like you had that you told me about is shifting woodland. Shifting Woodland used to be like
Yeah,
really popular in Timeless before Strip Mine. In fact, it relied on by decks because lands were always safe. There was really no good way in the format to interact with lands. Some people abused this and abused the fact that people were really relying on their lands by like trying to force strategies with like White Orchid Phantom and flickering them and using Ghost Quarter. The little bit of land destruction we did have, and they were never great, but they were fringe things that did work because so many people were relying on cards like Shifting Woodland for eventuality. But now with crop rotation in the format, even though people are stripping you off of your mana, you can actually go back to Shifting Woodland for eventuality if you put like 1 copy into your deck, just as something to tutor late game. So people have played around with tutoring Field of the Dead, but that card it's asking a lot to have 7 lands in play in Timeless, and only making a 2/2 is not insanely powerful compared to like Shifting Woodland copying the best card in your graveyard when you've had a really long game of attrition where there's 20 cards in your graveyard.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I feel like if you've gotten to the board state where you have 7 lands in play in this format, and like you've already kind of won the game in some kind of way because like that was your plan to do so. Yeah, Field of Dead is just I don't think that's it. I think it's just way too slow. I agree. Yeah, but it is so like I like one of Woodlands. I think it is interesting, and it's like you probably will get people like on ladder and online, and like where they can't see your deck list, but like. Man, if you're an open deck list and like just like say you're on 4 strip mine and you know your opponent's playing like one of Shifting Woodlands with crop rotation, it's like, are you really gonna fire off your like strip mine? Like you're gonna if you know they have like a combo or something that revolves around it, like you might just like hold strip mines a bit more or something. I don't know. Like I guess it's not very committal because like that's the whole point of crop rotation. But yeah, I don't know the play patterns of that, and I haven't really. I think that's like a cool space to explore at least
Yeah,
and see like
definitely.
how good the card
And
plays.
we're still really early in the crop rotation format. Like people will figure things out, especially like shells that lean more unfair and can like properly abuse woodland. Will take a while to actually figure out. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, because you could even like just like get like an indestructible tap land or something if like they're really in on strip. Like there's a lot of like just random one-off like utility stuff that might be okay,
Yeah, like
depending on
there's
like
those
game plan.
bridge lands from Modern Horizons. I think they're all called the bridges, right? Yeah, like Dark Moss Bridge is the green black one, for example.
Hmm.
Is this the new technology? It
I
seems
don't.
really narrow, but like something like that might end up being a good idea one day.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, and now you basically like anytime we get a new land in the format, you have to look at it. I was looking at planets for a bit. Planets are not it, but yeah, there's basically or like even like a one of like Mistrise Village, like post board for certain things. There's a lot of like weird little like interactions and stuff. Like you just have to pay attention to all the lands in the format, like especially now. So now because you don't need to run them, and you don't need to run 4 of them, right, to get your the benefit of it if you're on crop rotation.
Oh yeah, like I even saw, I think it was Chest Hair with the blue cope list that was playing one Ancient Tomb because it was playing 4 crop rotations. So they don't have to worry about the colorless pips too much, but they can still just use crop rotation as a ramp spell to power out Ancient Tomb, which is crazy.
Yeah, or even if you're just like just say you're like on like a fair like green black kind of like style list. and you like change the green sources a bit, like you could just go like, like forest and ancient tomb, crop rotate your forest, and you have a your turn 2 1 ring. You don't have to like
Yeah.
be super creative with it either. So yeah, it's a really neat card and it's cool to have in the format.
All right. Do you want to go back to Gut? Because I think we mentioned him briefly and then
Yeah.
said, let's not
So
get sidetracked. And we could talk about Broadside and Energy as well.
yeah. Okay. Gut. So I played with the card some, and I was like. Sometimes I got to do the thing and make a 4-1, and I was just like clearly winning. I pretty much only played with it in mono red. Um, Mono red's issue, I think, is you only have like if you're trying to curve into gut on 2, because you generally don't want to play gut first because you want to get the trigger down immediately if you can. For mono red, you either have to curve Ragavan or Broadside Bombardiers into gut, which isn't it doesn't give you that many ways to do it, and like versus like I think you want a lot more 1-drops to enable gut, or just so that like when you do play your gut, you're already getting the trigger instead of like if you ever play gut and you don't immediately get the 4-1, it feels really disappointing to me.
Yeah.
What's
It's an
yeah,
aggro
what's
card, like through and through. And
Mhm.
like that's how you should view it. And Broadside Bombardiers is just like a special card where it can thrive even in a deck like Red Stompy that can be kind of slow sometimes, just because it has haste and it has ridiculous reach. But Gut does go in certain archetypes more than others. And what's funny about Gut is I haven't been playing like much Magic outside of Timeless for like the past year, just because I've been having a lot of fun with the format, also trying to make content with it. I only have so much time on this earth, right? But this Gut card has been like a Vintage Cube staple. It's been like one of the strongest red aggro cards in Vintage Cube. And when I heard that, I didn't believe it at first because I just heard it recently. And then when I saw the announcement that it was pre-banned in Historic alongside Broadside, I also didn't believe it. And I'm like, I feel like this is a silly pre-ban. I don't think it's on the same power level as Broadside. Is this really going to break energy? And I read the card and it didn't seem that good, but the minute I actually said, okay, I'm going to try playing Energy, I'm going to put 4 Ancient Tomb in Boros Energy, I'm going to play 4 Gut, 4 Broadside, and see what it's all about, and it felt incredibly, incredibly strong and consistent. Now, keep in mind, I'm also playing like Broadside, so I'm kind of lumping them together mentally, but having these 3 drops in Energy that you can curve into in order to either flip your Ajani or get some reach or make your board state even bigger is kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. It makes Energy's curve outs even meaner. Like you thought turn 2 Ajani into turn 3 Bombardment was a really mean curve out, but now turn 2 Ajani into either of these 3 drops is just so much worse for your opponent.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting because like we've always like wanted to try Ancient Tomb in energy, but it's like it's always logic has always been like, okay, let's put Ancient Tomb in energy. Okay, what are our good 3-drops? And it's like Archon, and that's like it,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah, I tried it when the set first came out. When we first got Ancient Tomb, my first idea is like, okay, we're going to make Ancient Tomb Energy a thing. I'm going to play my 3 drops. There were no good red 3 drops at the time, so I'm like, okay, we have to cut red to play Ancient Tomb and Strip Mine. I have to play black 3 drops and white 3 drops. And we also didn't have Baroglyph yet. So the 3 drops I found were things like Preacher of the Schism, some very bad cards that should not be played in Timeless, unfortunately. And I had tried playing the deck and kind of concluded it was pretty bad. The only 3 drop that felt great was like Anointed Peacekeeper. That card is pretty cool as a hate bear. But other than that, I didn't really get there. But like now you have these 8 3 drops if you really want to play all of them, and they're all Ancient Tomb compatible. I'm not even sure if Strip Mine belongs in the deck. I think it was Novos that cut it, and then I like copied his version where he cut Strip Mine, and it felt pretty good when I played it for a couple games last night. Strip Mine's crazy, especially when you back it up with pressure, so maybe it should be in the deck. But it's interesting. Like we're gonna be able to build new energy variants for the first time in a year.
yeah, I saw a variant just like red white Boros energy, and I go, oh cool, like they're playing around strip mine a bit more by going 2 color, like that's neat. Um and then they game 2 they played out of strip mine. I was like, oh okay, they're just also playing strip mine, and they're just like kind of like just like less color energy, and like maybe they're like a bit higher in the hierarchy, but like they were getting mana screwed less, and the person was like ranked 50 with it, so like they were clearly doing all right on ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of very like do you revisit Chromox at this point too? Like
I
I
had Chrome
button
Mox and
here.
Energy like in my initial gut build, or not gut build, it was just with Broadside. I think it was before I realized gut was good and added it. And it feels really bad too for wanting yourself in Energy, even if you do
Mhm,
have the
yeah.
One Ring in the deck. Like, maybe I should try it again with all of the Ancient Tombs and all 4 One Rings and see if it feels a little bit better. But there are some draws where it feels like really terrible to have to pitch one of your really good energy cards to the Chrome Mox because it's your only colored mana source.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, yeah. And I know some people have also been trying like some of the artifact lands, the monocolor artifact lands, just to enable mainly to enable bombardiers, but I've seen some people play with gut too, which has also seemed reasonable too, right? If you're getting a 4/1 menace, or like
Yeah, I haven't tried
probably
it
kill them
yet,
real
but the
quick.
thought like 100% crossed my mind. You can afford to play like 2 white artifact lands and it wouldn't hurt your mana too much.
Yeah, it's very cool.
It also pulls the
But
deck like
yeah.
away from the traditional like Giganta build. Like energy literally hasn't changed in a year, which is why I find this interesting. The Lurrus energy deck has been pretty much exactly the same for a year, since a couple months after Modern Horizons. It's just been 8 discard energy, and the sideboard has changed very slightly. And what cards are in the main versus side fluctuates over time. And the same thing with the non-Lurrus build. It's Giganta, 4 Flage, 4 One Ring. You try to beat the Lurrus version. That's it. And now we have interesting new ways to build the deck where you don't necessarily need to play Flage. You don't necessarily need to play like the traditional cards into the deck. And like I feel like it's fine to even just like not play Juggernaut Peddler. I feel fine interacting with the format without black. Things might change over time, but it's really interesting to me at least.
Yeah, because like your clock for like because again, like energy was really weird in that it was like the best like fair deck, but it's actual like fair clock to get you to 0 life kind of was like this like exponential curve where it like finally popped off like whenever you got like Ascension or like City's Blessing, or like you got your like bombardment turn in, right? Or you like got your Flip to Johnny turn in. Whereas like with Bombardier, like you're kind of just taking a turn off that on your fair game plan, which is really interesting. And maybe you don't have to interact as more, which is neat.
Yeah, same thing with Gut. Just like upgrading
Yeah.
a 1/1 cat token into a 4/1 essentially takes a turn off the clock, which is kind of crazy. Like those new 3 drops have given you a critical mass of really fast draws.
And they both just flip a Johnny and enable it because they're red, right? Like
Yeah,
it's really quick.
exactly. Oh, I cut Amped Raptor too. That was another funny one. For the first time in forever, I cut Amped Raptor for my energy deck because I was trying to play so many 3 and 4 drops, and I might actually have made the correct decision there. We'll see.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see. I feel it feels weird to say that.
Some people are
It's just
doubting,
it's
but like
sacrilege.
I think it's real. Like I think it's real. If you're
Uh,
playing all the guts, all of the One Rings, all the Bombardiers, and maybe trying to play Flage too, I don't think you want Amped Raptor, especially if you're not playing Galvanic Discharge and you're not playing like either Hub or those other crappy lands because you're trying to do either artifact lands or make yourself strip mine proof.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it could be. It just like because that was kind of the pull to red for energy too, right? It was like, yeah, you'll play Discharge and Ragavan, but you're playing red for Amped Raptor. So it's yeah, there's a lot going on.
The future's now, old man. We're playing red for Broadside. I'm done with my Modern Horizons
I mean,
cards.
it's an amazing card. It's probably my favorite card I played with in like a very long time.
Oh yeah, like
Um,
I
I
was
think.
literally waiting for this card specifically from Legacy to come to the format
Yeah.
because I
Well,
knew
no,
it would
I
actually
think
make Red Prison decent and like it's also playable in other fair decks.
yeah. Well, like with Mono Red, like you always looked at it and be like, because the 3 drops you're playing like Angie's like Ravager. Or I don't know how to say it. I mean, because no one talks about it. Um, but like it would be like, oh yeah, this deck would be better if you got a Broadside Bombardiers, and you're like, okay, well, you just kind of hand wave it away. You're like, okay, well, if you get Broadside Bombardiers, yeah, sure, it's a lot better, right? Cool.
Oh
And you
yeah,
like
and
just
now it's
didn't think about it.
Christmas.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's been fantastic card. I I love Bombardiers. All
Yeah,
right,
it's really cool. I'm
let's talk
excited we
about
got new creature strategies. Yeah, you want to talk about another new creature?
yeah. So Voidwalker is I haven't seen. I don't think I've played like probably like 30, 40 matches. Probably like 30 matches since like the release. I have not. I don't think I've seen a Voidwalker in play against me yet.
Yeah,
And I have
I
not casted it.
actually haven't either. I haven't played as many, but I think I've seen one screenshot of someone trying to play it on Discord, and that's it. I think people are looking at their other new toys right now, and this card is really good. It's got a couple things going against it. Namely, it's double black pip, and it naturally wants to go in like the black mid range decks that are playing Ancient Tomb and Strip Mine. And it's a bit less flashy than some of the other cards, but like the ceiling on it is pretty crazy. It's an unblockable clock. It is a way to cast an Atraxa free from your opponent's graveyard, because of course you're playing discard and ripping their hand apart, right? I feel like the ceiling on this card is really high, and it's going to take a while to get explored.
Yeah, I think like a lot of the situations I'm imagining it are like I'm imagining it in like you're like say you're green black and you can cast you have Voidwalker mana, like you have the mana base for it. Like if you're playing against another green black deck and you ever like grief their One Ring, like they kind of have to answer the Voidwalker now. Like same versus energy or sorry, same versus show and tell. If you like take an Omni or an Atraxa, like then they have to kill that now. Like there's a lot of pressure on them that way. Um, but like generically,
Yeah.
like against energy, I'm not like as excited about it or anything like that.
Yeah, against some decks it's pretty bad, and it's just needs to tap to cast the card for free. So like if you have a Dauthi without summoning sickness, your opponent needs instant speed interaction for that sort of thing, which is sweet. But of course, I'm identifying the ideal scenario against energy. This is a 2-drop that does nothing and you die.
Yeah, it just gets pinged by Bombardiers, doesn't
Yep.
it? Um, but yeah, I can't imagine. I don't. I'm not starting this. When I do test this, it's probably going to be in like Dark Ritual combo, like in the sideboard, or like I'm seeing it in the. I'm imagining it in the sideboard quite a bit. I think, to start off.
Yeah, we'll see whether or not it makes its way into main decks. I'm sure it'll go into like some blue cope list eventually, and then like all the blue copers will get obsessed with it at some point.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I mean, but Blue Club's gonna have trouble just like fitting it into their mana base, right? Because they're all like, they pretty much like run like one swamp if they do. They don't run a lot of basic swamps and stuff like that, and they do have like they tend to run some basics of like a sanctuary or something like that. Um, so it's not free. It won't be free for the Blue Cope to run.
Yeah, it's not free. Yeah, you're right. It's probably hard in a strip mine meta just to get your 2 black sources down if you're a 3-color blue deck.
Yeah, or
They
even
they
even
try
like two
really
color, I think it's
hard. Yeah, they
because
spread
even like two
themselves
color,
thin on the
yeah,
mana because they run a
because like
Mystic
you,
Sanctuary.
yeah, and like with all your one drops wanting to be blue now, like it. I mean, like, what's your best black one drop? It's like Deathrite Shaman. That's it, right? Or
Yeah.
like Thoughtseize. So like being base blue and playing one drops and then also trying to cast Voidwalker is going to be a little difficult, I think, for Blue Cope.
Yeah, exactly. And like how the blue mana bases are built right now is they're still playing Mystic Sanctuary, if you could believe it. So they're on all blue fetches, all their fetchables are blue, and it means you essentially have to fetch like double Watery Grave, which means you don't get your white source so
Or-
that you can play your Swords to Plowshares, which means that your opponent can strip mine you and screw you up really easily. It's not a good situation to pick yourself in.
And then you're also starting at like 14, 15 life if you do that, and that's like before any strip mines come into play, right?
Yeah,
Um,
before a broadside comes into play and chunks you for 10, right?
yeah, I
Broadside's so
it seems
crazy.
pretty
I
tough.
love how there's a card that can just like punish your opponent. I was playing that really funny burn list. I don't know if you saw me playing it in Discord. It was an artifact burn with Shrapnel Blast, and I
That's what
had
it
one
was.
VO3 where I burned my opponent for 10 in one game and 11 in another game in one turn to kill them. It was so funny.
Yeah, I think I had double broadside bombardiers and I killed them from 16.
Yeah, the card's
It's
messed up.
it's very, very good. And you just like don't have to worry about like a lot of like interactive shit as much anymore because you just oh, I'm just gonna burn them from like 10 or whatever. It doesn't matter too much.
Yeah. Right. I think we have
Okay,
Exploration
exploration.
next on the list of cards to talk about, which is
Yeah, I
interesting.
saw. I've seen it. It's being played in historic. But there's a
Ooh.
lot less fast mana in historic. I've seen it. Novos tried it. It does not seem good enough right now. I don't think there's like enough stuff to do with lands, and like you kind of don't have like it's real like what are you keeping like a four lander with exploration and you're like happy like you're happy about it and you got there like it's not
Yeah, I agree.
like
Something is missing. The card ceiling is crazy if we had theoretical cards that aren't in the format. But right now, I would agree with you. It doesn't seem great. In order to utilize it, you have to keep a land heavy hand, and a land heavy hand is only going to have 1 or 2 threats. So what happens when your opponent mana drains the One Ring that you played off of your extra mana? What do? Cry? Give up?
yeah like I mean like if you're on the play but like everything's good on the play
Yeah. What we
Yeah, I
need
think
is
it's
a
just kind of like
card. We need like Life from the Loam or some other card, or perhaps a lands-based combo that we can throw into play early. Life from the Loam to rebuy fetches to keep making infinite land drops would be absolutely sweet if we could do that.
yeah, or if you had like a like or if you had like the dual lands that like if you can have them come into play like untapped and then you can like keep bouncing those,
Oh
right?
yeah, the
Like
bounce lands that like Primeval
because then
Titan decks play. That's really sick.
yeah, because then you're getting like 4 mana a turn and you're like okay that's like reason you know and it's like a recurable thing. But I think the issue is now is like you kind of spill out your hand. Like the only way to really manipulate exploration that like I'm seeing right now in the format is you just play 4 lands out on your first 2 turns and that's like it. And then you're not like top decking in any like you don't really get to like play the extra additional land every
Yeah,
turn. Whereas like if you have those like just like literally one bounce land in hand like changes that like comes in play on tap or something like gets you there. Um, or with like an amulet or something, you know, just stuff like that that like okay, now that I have like 2 cards in hand, like you know I have the double land, I have the like the 2 mana land, and then I have like a amulet. It's like okay, now I make 4 mana a turn. This is very different than like just having the top deck land naturally or something like that. Like you just have +4 mana for the rest of the game. Um, I think that's kind of what like abusing exploration is gonna like look like, or like a one way to like abuse it in the future, I guess.
yeah. You know what card is like low-key killing exploration's viability? It's actually Weary Zone Guard, because if we didn't have Weary Zone Guard, I'm sure a lot of people would play like Ramunap Excavator and similar cards that like you play Strip Mine from your graveyard with your land drop. And that pairs really well with exploration, whereas Weary Zone Guard like does not care at all about that card.
Yeah, I've seen some people talking about just like playing like Crucible or like Karn for Crucible, and you just like okay, you just get like a turn 2 Karn or whatever, and then you have a Crucible in play, and then you're like always playing your strip mine every like you just strip mine him for the rest of the game, and like with
I'm
like
laughing a little
exploration,
bit because like step
yeah,
one is get a turn two Karn, and then then you got to go through the other steps to strip block your
yeah,
opponent. Like you just play the Wary Zone Guard. It's not that hard.
yeah. No, I agree,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
agree.
yeah.
But it's definitely something to keep the radar, and it's a very powerful effect, and I just don't think we have the supporting cards just quite yet. How about okay, Chain Lightning, just extra redundancy for both, kind of. It's a bit worse. I haven't had my opponent copy Chain Lightning on me yet. I'm sure I've been playing around it a little bit, but yeah, it seems fine. Mono Red actually just has like a lot of like random burn now, and so like it actually feels a bit better to just like play like 7 or 8 bolts. I know,
Yeah,
yeah, the Shrapnel Blast list you were trying was just like, all right, we're just you can play a lot more burn and kind of try it out, especially with Bombardiers.
yeah. The list I was playing actually did not have Chain Lightning, and maybe it should. Now that I think about it, it just had Shrapnel Blast, the I think it's Galvanic Blast, the one that does 2 or 4 if you have Metalcraft, and
Yeah,
then Bolt. But I could have added Chain Lightning there too, because it was like a Corey Steel Cutter deck, and it could definitely benefit from another cheap card. It's
yeah. I don't
interesting.
think it's like too interesting. Yeah, it's like
It's
interesting,
not
but
going to
I
work
don't
the
think it
meta. You're
adds.
right. Like
Yeah,
we
yeah,
have Bolt. People really aren't playing Bolt that much. Energy isn't playing Bolt, and if they are, they're playing 2 copies, right?
yeah. No,
Horus
yeah,
got
that's fair.
unnerfed, so like, who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
All right.
All right,
Up next,
Spider-Man
we got
card.
Spider-Man cards. Yeah, we could talk about Ponder. Ponder has a lot of immediate like level 1 implications for the format. The first is that there's a lot of combo decks that aren't necessarily amazing at leveraging Brainstorm, especially if you think about like an Ancient Tomb Show and Tell deck. You're really low on fetches, so Brainstorm's not as good, but Ponder gives you that same level of card advantage, or not card advantage, card selection, without necessarily needing a fetch. So instantly those sorts of decks get better. We also like have Legacy Omnitel in the format right now, which is actually insane. We have Legacy Omnitel, but with more cards. Because as of a few months ago, the cards we were missing were Ponder, we were missing the 15 mana Emrakul, and we were missing Ancient Tomb, right? And we've gotten all those cards. What we're missing now is Force of Will, but what we gain is Dig Through Time, Treasure Cruise, those really messed up Delve
And
cards that I think make
Saiba.
up the difference, and the Cyber Siphoner Instant Speed Loop. So it
Yeah.
was funny before Ponder. There was the argument that Timeless Show and Tell was better than Legacy Show and Tell, and I would agree. I'd give it a slight edge. And now with Ponder, oh, it's definitely so much
I already
better,
have
even
it.
if it doesn't get Force.
Yeah. I'm still I haven't seen a lot of like rumbling about Emrakul versus Atraxa as a payoff. I imagine Atraxa is still like the thing to do. Um, that still seems like the much more impressive card to me, at least when I've seen it. Um, do people actually play Emmy in Legacy Show and Tell?
Yeah, they do. They'll play at least the one copy so that they can just get an extra turn because they might not be playing a win on the spot combo. They just try to draw their deck. So draw your deck,
Gotcha.
draw the
Okay.
Emrakul at some point, and then get an extra turn.
Okay.
I'm
But
not a
then
legacy
you
expert though. I got that wrong. Don't crucify me.
okay, yeah, because yeah, I know just like the timeless like one turn kill is like a lot more compact just off of like Saiba existing.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we'll see. I'm personally like just like thinking about it. I'm leaning towards like no Emmys, but we'll see. But yeah, and it's also Ponder's also really good for like these like decks that aren't base blue that like still want to run card selection, like Slot Machine, just kind of like that, you know, this little Slot Machine ladder deck. There are like some Beseech like show and tell shells that like you want kind of want to run like all the artifact lands, but you don't have enough. Like it's really hard to actually get like a blue source plus a fetch, because you're running like all those like base black artifact lands, and you want to like have dark ritual starts. Um, and so Ponder's a way to like you can just like if you have the one blue, you can do it, and you don't have to like fetch around it and stuff like that. So it really helps a lot of the like non-base blue decks that are just kind of like splashing blue that's like still want the card selection. So it's really neat, really cool to have in the format.
Yeah, it is really cool, actually, and it'll probably enable other combo decks that we haven't named yet. Like, you could think of marginal combo decks, something like Jund Underworld Breach, and think, okay, what if they reworked it a little bit? You're still a Dark Ritual Underworld Breach combo deck, but now you're playing Ponder and maybe Brainstorm for a card selection. Could you make something like that work? There's a lot of ideas you could try that with.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's fair. Yeah. I don't think you do, but yeah, we could
Yeah, I
see.
don't know
We
if
could
it's going to work out
see.
for that example, but there's got to be something.
Yeah.
Like Blue
All right.
Belcher or something. And there's also Ponder
Mhm.
and Fair decks as well. Like Fair
Yeah,
Blue decks have a
Blue Belcher's a really
just
good example.
yeah, they have a crazy amount of card selection now. You have 4 Brainstorm, 4 Ponder. You get to play 4 Crop Rotations to find your Strip Mine. You get to play 4 Tamios. You get to play 4 Sword Splashers. You get to play 4 Deathrite Shamans, and you get to play 4 Hydroponics Architects. That is too many 1-drops that let you win the game.
It's a
That's too
lot. Yeah, it's a
much.
lot.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
cards.
Yeah, it's yeah, and it is. Yeah, yeah, I'm curious how like blue, because blue has so many cards that it feels like you like just like tempo has so many cards that it feels like you. But I am curious as to, like how they're gonna integrate. Like if they play Ponder, like how many copies they do.
Yeah.
And like what? Because like they're just really choked on slots like already. It feels like. So yeah, I'm curious to see how that like plays out and like settles out too.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Opposition
Okay.
Agent is coming too
Yeah.
in the bonus sheet.
Yeah. So I think it's really good against show and tell. I think it's really good against show and tell. Especially if show and tell is on Sultai. Because it means that their symbols are all bad as well now. Um, they also can't fetch around Brainstorm. It also can't get commandeered. Some also like some necro decks, you're just gonna like have a spare like black mana end of turn, and then you're gonna like draw it into a dark ritual like opposition agent, cast both those end of turn, and then like discard, and you're gonna like basically save 2 cards on hand size because you did it all at instant speed. You also just get to like flash it in against blue decks whenever you want, which is annoying. I think like if you just know they're sitting on mana drain, and you like 3 power is a good like it's a good clock against like blue decks that already fetch shocking quite a bit. It seems well positioned. It seems terrible in energy, um, but
It's
it
every
does kind of
card.
just like yeah. I think it is just like a slightly more game-winning card on the spot than Baragwave, just because there is so much spot removal in the format that it's almost better to just try and like roll and like try and blank your opponent's mana.
Yeah,
Um,
it's interesting to think about like main deck sideboard configurations and what how this card fits in. We can
yeah,
agree it probably goes in the 75 of Black mid range, maybe even the 75 of a Necro deck, but does it go in the main deck, or maybe you just main deck something like Barrogoyf and then switch this in when it's situationally good?
yeah. No, especially like day one when everyone's on Ponder Show and Tell. I'm gonna be playing it in the main deck probably. You know,
I mean,
like
everyone's gonna play
gonna
around
do that.
it day one, though. I think it's the kind of card that gains a lot of a lot of EV when it's a rogue card and it's not strong in the meta because people will stop respecting it. People will stop like fetching around it, and you will get people pretty often. And it'll be like a stone rain on a stick with flash pretty often.
Yeah, but I mean, also like if you think about like a lot of these blue decks that are like already running Brainstorm, like they're running like a base blue deck with Brainstorm is probably running 10 fetches. If you're on hydroponics, you're like 12 fetches or more, right?
Oh
And so
yeah,
like
those
if you think
decks are
about your
so
ratio of
greedy. The I like
yeah,
I've
your
seen the
ratio of like
most
fetchables.
ridiculous fetch land mana bases lately with Hydro Homie. Like it, they're running like 15 fetches and 8 fetchables, maybe less. It's insane, like how low to the ground they're running.
Yeah, and then so like you're just like, okay, well, do you have like an uncolored sword? Like if you just play it on the play, they have to have a subtlety for it. If they don't, then it's like, okay, they're very likely to have like it's like a fetch and like maybe like a non-fetch. And then they don't have a way to like trigger like their removal if they're like Sultai, right? They can't
Hmm.
trigger Fatal Push. Like it's gonna be annoying in a lot of spots.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
if you stick this card, they need to naturally have like the Hallowed Fountain plus swords in their hand, or they're screwed.
But yeah, it's tricky though too. Is like I think in the dark with your combo decks though, like if you have it main deck, you're probably not gonna like, oh, keep 7, I have Dark Ritual Opposition Agent. Like I don't think you're doing that. But if you're like on like a mull to 5 and you're just like whatever at that point, yeah, sure, I think you can do that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And it is, yeah, it's just like another just like random like like Dark Ritual payoff that is that can win the game. Albeit it's a lot more of like it's a lot less forceful of a way, but it'll be reasonable. It'll be reasonable, and people are gonna run it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, people are gonna at least try to play it because it's fun to get your opponent like that.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, I want to talk about Viggo, the Enforcer of Ig's Crossing. It's a 3/3, 2 and a black. To when Viggo enters, return target creature with mana value 1 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And then for 3 and Jund Pips, you can transform Viggo. Um, so I think like a couple months ago, I wouldn't have been like that excited about the card, but like looking at like the amount of like if you think about how the formats change a bit, like we basically have a lot more one drops. There's a lot less swords, and there's a lot more one like, and then there's the emergence of Deathrite Shaman and Hydroponics Architect, right? So like you just naturally are gonna and like they're all like must kill targets, and then very few people like outside of energy are playing swords. Like even Show and Tell's not playing swords anymore, right? So like if you just play this like in an Ancient Tomb deck or something, and like you're just kind of you're pretty likely to just have a one drop in the bin sometimes. I think by like just by virtue of like having all these like must remove threats. Um, that I don't think you have to do a lot of work to turn it on. And then like if you happen to have like a Death Shaman, you can maybe flip. But like just like I think it's kind of consistently going to be able to buy back one drops in this
Yeah.
metagame.
I don't know if I necessarily like agree that this random 3 drop's gonna be playable, because for the longest time we've had extraction specialists in this format, which is the white version of the card. Except it comes with
Yeah.
lifelink and it can get 2 drops back as well as 1 drops, and it's seen precisely 0 play, even with energy having a Johnny's to buy back. So
Yeah, no,
I'm
that's
not
fair.
sold personally, but it does go in like the dark ritual color, so maybe.
Yeah, but it's weird. It's the dark ritual color, but you probably don't play it in your dark ritual decks, if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah, you would want to be on much more of like a 1 drop sphere deck to play it.
yeah, so
Yeah,
maybe it's
maybe
just
it's bad
bad.
because you're also not playing Ancient Tomb in those decks.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe it's bad. Okay, maybe this was a reach. Okay. We can go to okay, Kraza. The Swarm is 1. Uh, this is basically like the 2 mana, 1 in a red, 2/1, right? Basically, it has spells and abilities can't be countered, and damage can't be prevented. I don't think the Spider Sex is going to matter too much. It's really good against One Ring. It's kind of weird getting this. Like it was preview season came out, and we were looking at it, and I was like, okay, this will be pretty good against One Ring decks. Um, but now with like Bombardiers and was it Gut? Is it Bombardiers and Gut? Um, like I don't I'm less excited about this card now because like you can just like burn through energy decks a lot more easily now, and you don't even need to like it doesn't you don't really need to reach through the One Ring anymore. Is what my opinion has felt like, or like that's what the format has felt like lately in the past like day.
Okay, I was gonna disagree with you again. I didn't think this was good even before. I
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
fair.
think playing a 2 drop just for that effect is necessarily worth it. We already have like fringe cards like Bone Crusher Giant, which is a defensible card, and something like Red Stompy that can get around One Ring. We had other ways to do it, and none of those cards got played.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's probably okay. I thought it was like reasonable as a sideboard card into like one ring decks, if like that like really took over. But yeah, it's probably not playable now too with all the like all the good red 3 drops and pulls we've had, right? Like yeah, I agree it's probably bad.
Yeah. All right, as a chop suggestion, but I think you have a good one coming up with Relic of Legends.
Yeah, so this is with Relic of Legends, I know Muxus and Frank were talking about this. This is so basically you have these 2 white 3 drops that in web for 1. And they're both legendary, so you can tap them to Relic of Legends, right? So you can infinitely inweb them, and then tap them um, off Relic of Legends, and you'll basically and it's mana neutral. So if you have any kind of storm, like if you get Relic of Legends into play, and then you have any kind of like storm payoff, you can actually just like if you just have a grape shot, you just have a kill right there. Um, Relic is nice because it's also just like a bit harder to interact. Like it's pretty hard to interact with being an artifact. You just need creatures for Enweb. I think the downside is like these cards are really like re- really bad on their own.
Oh,
One's just like a
definitely.
vanilla 3/3.
Yeah.
Yaronovsky is like pretty mid too. Um, I mean Relic is also just not playable on any other shell, so it's probably not going to be a thing.
I mean,
But it
it's
is kind
really
of
cool to think about, though. And the other thing
yeah,
is that, like, this is historic legal, so, like, at least we can have fun there. You gotta ask, why are we really playing this in Timeless in particular? If, like, I think Grape Shot and Tendrils are legal and historic, right? You do have your
yeah.
win
And I guess
conditions
like I
there.
think if you have a Kinnan in play, you're just netting mana on all of these, and then and you can just infinitely like activate Kinnan too.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
so there's
pretty much
like
Kethis
some stuff.
combo without a graveyard dependency, which is a really strong buff.
Yeah, and like you do have resiliency because there's like you can run 8 like 4 of each, and so you do have 8 copies of that. So it is like neat. But yeah, that is worth a shout. Yeah,
Hey, it's me from the future. We didn't record a proper outro to this episode because it's sort of episode 0, just trying it out, seeing how it worked out. Ended up working out great. Like, we talked productively on the recording for like 15 minutes about what we could do better next time for the next episode, and we actually already recorded the next one. We got ahead of ourselves. So let me know what you thought about this, suggestions for how you would like to see this handled. Do you want to see these videos like edited with visuals? That's something I should care about. Should I put this on a separate YouTube channel for the podcast? Things like that. If you have any sort of suggestion, let me know. Let me know how it went. And thank you for listening.